Hey, Ag Teacher Thoughts here. We have our first fermentation batch running right now. There is our check valve at the top. Got a little bit of water in there. Carbon dioxide will bubble out, but not allow air to get back in and contaminate our carboy there. This is a first batch for us. This one is basically going to be sugar and a select fruit juice and our yeast culture. This is not going to be something where I'm going to release that information, not yet at this point. That you can find on the internet if you're curious, but there are more than ag teachers that watch this channel, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's on the internet, but it's not going to come from me. But yeah, we have just inoculated this with our starter culture. Right now it is warm to the touch. It's probably 115 degrees or so, maybe 120, but it is in an ideal range to start that fermentation process. For those of you that are just joining us, wondering why we are fermenting fruit juice and sugar here at the lab, it's because we are starting a ethanol program here at our high school. So last week we did receive our certification, our license to distill fuel alcohol here at the high school. And this is, again, it's going to be a fuel alcohol. We are not distilling drinking alcohol. All of the alcohol developed here will be poisonous to drink. So it will be denatured, and we have several different methods that we're going to be using to denature our alcohol or make it non-drinkable. With this, this carboy was inoculated about an hour ago. So it's just barely starting the fermentation process. I haven't yet seen any air burp out of our carboy. But by tomorrow when I come back and give you another shot of this, it should be bubbling away. We are going to go ahead and let this one ferment over the weekend. It's Wednesday now. We could distill on Friday, but we'll just kind of see where we're at. We might be able to collect just a little bit more alcohol if we let it run over a weekend. With our program, we do have some other pieces of machinery. And this is stuff that our wonderful science teacher has procured for us. So that is our, get that come back in there. Sorry about that. That is our distillation unit there. With that, we have water piping that does run down to our chiller. So this is a chiller that is full of ethylene glycol. So that's not water down there, that's ethylene glycol. And this unit will keep that liquid at a constant temperature, and it'll circulate it up into our distillation chamber and then back down, and then our alcohol will come off here into our collection vessel. So right now we have been doing a lot of practice with this distillation unit. So we're using it to distill all of our own distilled water. So in a lab setting, there are a lot of chemistry experiments where you just don't want the contaminants in there. Part of it is going to be the fermentation. We are going to start with a distilled water. The other thing is, in this area, we've got a lot of calcium in our water, and we don't want to get that into our equipment. So we are going to use a distilled water there. So with this, we've got all sorts of other chemistry equipment that we're going to be using. Right now, this is, again, our very first batch. We're recording all of our information to be compliant with the federal government on this. We do have to record all sorts of data and ensure that everything is secured. So this is a locked laboratory, and we do have locked fire vessels or fire cabinets to store all of our finished product. And that's finished product after it's been denatured, which I think I mentioned earlier. Yeah, it's poisonous and it will taste absolutely horrible when we are done. But the goal of this is to get the fermentation and the distillation done here, and then that finished product, when we're ready for it, will be transported over to our shop space where we will use it in small engines. So we are starting not only an ethanol program, but we are looking at other biofuels. I have, for the last few years, I've actually made a biodiesel. In fact, I've got it in the shop or the lab fridge behind us. There is a jug of or a can of biodiesel that we actually made here in the lab with a bunch of our students. And yes, I do keep it in a refrigerator. Biodiesel, it's perishable, only lasts about 6 months. So don't go buy a big tank and try to stock up on biodiesel. Both of these fuels, when we're done, are hydroscopic, so they will absorb water. So we are going to be storing them with a couple different methods to keep the moisture from accumulating in them. But the idea is we will have ethanol, so an ethanol-methanol blend or an ethanol-gasoline blend. We have a couple different methods to denature that. One uses gasoline and one uses methanol, but we have to make sure that whichever method we do use is compliant, which we're following all the rules. If you're following my YouTube videos, I'm following all the rules. We're at a school. We have to cross every I and dot every T. So anyway, we are going to make the biofuels, and then we're going to use them on something that's called a cycle cart. So imagine a go-kart that's about 8 feet long with motorcycle tires on it and an engine in the back. They go about 35 miles an hour, and we are fabricating those from scratch in our shop space, and then they are going to be run on green energies that we do produce here at the school. So we're going to have one run on our alcohol fuel blend. One is going to run on a biodiesel. We do have a oilseed press out in one of our buildings. So as we get going, we're going to get that all connected up, and we will be able to harvest our own oilseed. Up in the hills around us, we're actually down in the bottom of a valley, so actually up on the flat above us, they do grow oil seeds. We have that available to us. And they also grow all sorts of grains, so we also have that available to us. So the two sources for biofuels, we are right at the source. We're bottom of the canyon, right where all the biofuel seeds are produced up above us. So perfect spot to place this. Those cycle carts, so we have the biodiesel, our bioalcohol, our alcohol fuel that we're going to do, and then the last one is actually our solar electric. And the great thing is the science teacher before I got here wrote a bunch of grants, and one of the ones he received was solar panels. So our solar energy is actually our wall outlets here in the school during the bright summer sunny days. So alcohol, biodiesel, and solar electric are going to be our three green energies that we're using to run the cycle carts. So this was by far the most difficult one for us to manufacture, just because of all of the regulations that were involved in it. So you can't just go out and distill your own alcohol. It does require a federal permit. And again, if you watch my previous videos, we did obtain that last week. So I hope that you take some time to follow along with what we're doing. And this process will show you every step of the way as we go. And hopefully you learn something and you can watch our program grow. If you want to support our program, please drop me an email and I can make a connection with you. But again, this is a high school starting our alcohol fuel program, and this is our first run, our first fermentation run, and we will do the distillation either Friday or Monday. All right, I hope you are enjoying this. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.